Coming up on the San Francisco 49ers Report by Chat Sports, my name is Chase Sr. The Niners organization wants to fix this during the offseason. Former defensive coordinator Nick Sorensen headed to the Dallas Cowboys and their new coaching staff under Brian Schottenheimer in a different role. And some of the top prospects the Niners can target along the defensive line. We're talking edge rushers and defensive tackles for this 2025 NFL draft class. Before we do all of that, just want to say thank you to all of the faithful for your support right here on the Niners Report. We just surpassed 156,000 subscribers earlier today. And if you want Niners coverage every single day year-round, I have you covered during what is going to be a massive, important, pivotal offseason for this organization. Lock us in and subscribe right now. I want to start off with this. General Manager John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan have a goal for what to accomplish on the defensive side of the ball this offseason. The Niners want to get faster and more exotic on defense. And I think this is something that the Niners really need to do and accomplish in free agency and in the draft. Because in 2024, San Francisco was too slow as a football team on both sides of the ball, not just on defense. And the Niners play a physical brand of ball. Stylistically, that's great because physicality wins at home, on the road, in any weather, during any month. And they can wear down teams throughout the course of a ball game. But when you marry physicality with speed, that's when you become very dangerous. And last year, the Niners tried to play with brute force. They didn't have the speed to match it. And think about the teams that the Niners are chasing to try to reach their 6th Lombardi trophy. The Eagles, the Commanders, Lions, Vikings, Packers, Chiefs, Bills, Ravens, Texans. Those are teams that were in the mix in the NFL playoffs. Los Angeles Rams that have physicality, they have speed, they're a little bit better in the trenches as compared to San Francisco, and the Niners have to make those necessary changes this offseason. What the Niners also must do under Robert Saleh, be more exotic, get more creative on defense to put pressure on the offense. Because this season, the offense's job on the other sideline, it was way too easy. And this is how the Niners can fix the defense during this offseason alone to get back to championship contention in 2025. Be more creative and exotic. Come up with some new ideas. I want to see Robert Saleh get in his blitz bag occasionally. Do some things that Brian Flores and Steve Spagnuolo do, where you show and disguise a lot at the line of scrimmage. Sometimes you'll call and dial up the blitz. Other times it is a disguise where you show blitz and you back off. For the Niners, it was way too vanilla, way too predictable. Add that team speed. Play more press man. Under Kyle Shanahan, the Niners have played zone the number 1 rate in the NFL since he took over in 2017. Play some press man and make the offense's job a little bit more difficult. And the Niners have to do a better job of stopping the run and rushing the quarterback. Get better at defensive tackle. Get an edge rusher who's going to be able to help out Nick Bosa on that other side. Here's what Tony Pauline said about the Niners' goals this offseason, what they're trying to accomplish, the changes that they are trying to make. He said Niners coaches at the Shrine Bowl practice have outlined what the plan and the hopes are for 2025. A major priority will be to increase team speed on defense, specifically in the secondary via the draft and in free agency. There also is a cry to be more innovative on defense. The team was criticized for being too vanilla on defense, never moving away from the base package. And the belief is they will be a bit more exotic next year and throw in a lot more wrinkles and surprises. I like what I'm hearing so far at the start of the offseason. I like what the Niners are saying. I like what the Niners are doing. They are looking in the mirror and they are cognizant of the fact that they need to make adjustments, that they need to make some changes, that there needs to be a little bit of a reset and a refresh. Now, a lot of this is on defense and special teams. Kyle Shanahan also has to look in the mirror and understand that he needs to make some alterations. He needs to make some adjustments as well. But on defense, this is great. Robert Saleh, do your thing and innovate. Before we continue to move forward, do you want another Niners Report show tonight on this beautiful Tuesday, January 28th? If you do, I want you to type real one because the content daddies never stop here on the Niners Report. So far here today, Niners organization wants to fix this offseason. That is getting faster, more exotic on defense, especially in the secondary. Still to come, Nick Sorensen headed to the Dallas Cowboys under that new staff and top prospects the Niners can target along the defensive line. Before we do that, let's pay our bills. Give a shout out to our friends at Game Time. The Super Bowl is coming up. If you want to get tickets to that game, Eagles, Chiefs in New Orleans, a great touristy city to visit. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use the code CHATSPORTS, CHATSPORTS, for $20 off. Terms apply, first purchase only. Game Time specializes in last-minute tickets at the lowest price guaranteed and the best seats at that lowest price point. You can see the view from your seat before you buy, so you know exactly what to expect when you arrive. And thanks to a new feature called Game Time Picks, curation makes it easier to find the best seats at the lowest price instead of having to use all of that time to go through thousands of tickets. It's not just an app for sporting events. You can go to concerts, comedy shows, theater events, and a whole lot more. But if you want to go to sporting events in the Bay Area, Golden State Warriors, Phoenix Suns, Chase Center, San Francisco, you get that bird's eye view of the arena, so you can get an idea of where those seats are, but then you get the vantage point from those seats as well. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Last-minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. Use that code CHATSPORTS, $20 off. Terms apply, first purchase only. So how about this news that came across the wire on Monday? I wanted to talk about it here on the show. The Dallas Cowboys are expected to hire former Niners defensive coordinator Nick Sorensen as their special teams coordinator. Of course, Sorensen was in that role with San Francisco last year. He does have experience as a special teams coordinator, most recently with the Jacksonville Jaguars in 2021 under Urban Meyer. That lasted a year because Urban Meyer didn't even last the season. And then Sorensen, who really got his coaching career started with the Seattle Seahawks, then went to the Jags, teamed up with Kyle Shanahan with the Niners. The Niners season in 2024 defensively is one that we all want to forget. And I will remember the Niners 2024 defense for these reasons and more. They blew several late leads, including multiple late leads, to divisional opponents. They were terrible on third downs and in the red zone. Couldn't get off the field and couldn't keep teams out of the end zone. There were some dubious play calls and decisions by Sorensen and his staff. For instance, against the Minnesota Vikings at their own 3-yard line, Justin Jefferson is the best wide receiver in the world, and Nick Sorensen intentionally matches up George Odom, a safety and career special teamer, in the slot against Jefferson. Guess what happened? Sam Darnold took the top off of the defense, and Justin Jefferson able to beat George Odom clean. 97-yard touchdown. Against the Detroit Lions, 4th and goal from the 4. What do the Niners and Nick Sorensen do? They play soft zone in a condensed field. Amon-Ra St. Brown takes the catch from and the pass from Jared Goff, cakewalk into the end zone. Like, those types of things are not going to happen under a better defensive coordinator in Robert Saleh because they simply don't make sense. And there were dubious play calls really all year. Last 3 games, the Niners embarrassed and dump trucked on the defensive side of the ball. Dolphins, Lions, Cardinals, no contest. There was a stretch there that Seattle into the Green Bay, into the Bills game where the opposition scored touchdowns on like 11 straight drives inside the red area. That's a joke. This is also a bad tackling unit. There were so many scheme and communication breakdowns and just a lot of confusion pre-snap, post-snap on that side of the ball, and Nick Sorensen was outclassed by good offensive coordinators. Dallas Cowboys also adding to their staff, and this is good news for the Niners because Niners-Cowboys, a great rivalry. They hire Brian Schottenheimer, who's never been a head coach before, hadn't had a head coaching interview in about a decade. They hire Nick Sorensen as their special teams coordinator, and then they hire Matt Eberflus, the former Bears coach who didn't last the season, as their defensive coordinator. Not sure what Jerry Jones and Stephen Jones are doing, but they seem to be out of it right now. Lastly, let's round out with this. The top players who the Niners can target along the defensive line. There are really two team-building roster construction things that the Niners need to check the box of this offseason. Rebuilding the offensive line, left guard, center, right tackle, and bulking up along the defensive line. Defensive tackle and edge rusher. Pretty deep edge rusher class here. It's headlined by Abdul Carter, who I think is the best player in this 2025 draft class. The edge rusher out of Penn State. Size, speed, twitch. Lone season as a pass rusher this year. He was an off-ball linebacker. He was terrific. If he adds some weight, I think he's going to hunt quarterbacks for the next decade. James Pierce out of Tennessee, another really good player. Mike Green out of Marshall is really starting to gather some recognition and climb up some draft boards. A lot of NFL draft evaluators really like him. He had a PFF grade right around 90. Michael Williams, a Georgia stud. Shamar Stewart at a Texas A&M. Jack Sawyer is more of a power bull rusher type, but a highly impactful player at Ohio State. He's being mocked late first round, early second round. If I'm the Niners, I wouldn't be opposed to trading out of 11, getting an offensive tackle in like the teens, and then getting Sawyer at the end of the first, and then you are able to knock off two of your big offseason needs in the first round alone. There's Nick Sorensen out of Texas A&M. Their defensive line was loaded this year under Mike Elko, the former Duke coach. And I'm not even sure how to say this name. Donovan Iziraku? I know I butchered that, but as we get closer to the draft, we'll get better. Landon Jackson out of Arkansas. And then JT Tuimalau. I think I said that right. He was the edge rusher opposite of Jack Sawyer with Ohio State. Again, it's early in the draft season. I'll get the pronunciation guide down. Don't you damn worry. All right, before we hop on out of here, sign up with Game Time. Don't forget to hit that sub button. Some players who the Niners can obviously target at that defensive end spot. Top defensive tackles as well. Mason Graham is my second favorite player in this draft class after Abdul Carter. His teammate and running mate, Kenneth Grant, is a late first, second round target who San Francisco would be happy to get as well. They can really rush the quarterback and stop the run from the interior. They are game breakers. Tyleik Williams out of the national champion Ohio State Buckeyes program. TJ Sanders out of South Carolina. He's an athletic freak. And then Walter Nolan, really good player who could be available when the Niners pick comes around in the second round out of Ole Miss. So edge rushers, defensive tackles right there for San Francisco. More of a deep defensive end class as compared to defensive tackles. Give me a follow, by the way, on X, on Instagram, at Chase_Senior. Same handle on both platforms. Shout out to our new guy, Dylan Summer, an up-and-coming producer here at Chat Sports who built these graphics today. He's crushing it.